Welcome back to the Deep Dive. It is Sunday, February 1st, 2026. And I have to say, looking at the calendar this morning, I felt a genuine sense of relief that January is finally over.
It really has been a month for the history books. I don't think Intense even begins to cover it.
Intense is, putting it mildly. Usually January is this quiet, hungover month. The industry sort of drags itself back from the holidays.
Right, you get CES, which is mostly just a parade of new TVs and, weird gadgets that never actually launch.
Exactly, and everyone just gently rolls into the new year. But January 2026, it felt like the tectonic plates of the entire AI industry didn't just shift, they slammed right into each other.
That's a very, very accurate visual. We are seeing the landscape settle into something entirely new. If, let's say, 2023 through 2025 was the era of explosion and wild experimentation, what we just witnessed in January is the beginning of the infrastructure era.
Right, and that is exactly what we are here to do today. We're going to try to map this new geography. We are moving beyond the hype. I feel like for the last 3 years, we've been talking about chatbots and LLMs and prompts, and look what the robots said.
It was all very much a novelty, a fascinating one, but still a novelty.
But looking at the stack of research and articles we have for today, the theme seems completely different. It feels like we are transitioning from playing with AI to actually living inside these AI-powered ecosystems.
That is the key shift. We're moving from that novelty to utility, and frankly from open chaos to consolidated power. The tools are kind of disappearing into the background, but they're becoming infinitely more powerful.
And for the people listening, especially if you are building a business or creating content, this changes the rules of the game completely.
It really does.
So, here is our mission for today. We have 3 massive stories, 3 distinct pillars that all collided in January, and we're going to unpack them specifically for you, the learner. We want to focus heavily on what this means for the creators, the entrepreneurs, the faceless channel operators, and the brand builders.
And we need to connect the dots between these stories because they are not isolated events, not at all. They're part of a much larger narrative about who owns the future of intelligence.
Exactly. First, we have the mega partnership that just dropped, Apple and Google. Siri is finally getting a brain transplant, and it's coming from a very, very unlikely donor. We need to talk about what this means for the iPhone in your pocket and, maybe more importantly, for anyone who relies on Google search for traffic.
That one is a monumental shift in the consumer tech landscape, just massive.
Second, we have the hardware monopoly. NVIDIA just spent $20 billion with a B to acquire Grok. We are going to explain why that specific acquisition changes the speed limit of the internet and what it means for real-time content creation.
Yeah, that one is a total game changer for speed and, the economics of running an AI business.
And third, the end of the Wild West. We saw a massive crackdown on Elon Musk's Grok platform regarding AI images. We are going to talk about what that means for the future of creative freedom, regulation, and brand safety.
And then we'll tie it all together.
Yes, and finally, we are going to tie it all together with the rise of what everyone's calling agentic AI.
Which is really the thread connecting all of these. It's that fundamental shift from chatting to doing.
So stick with us. By the end of this hour, you are going to have a playbook for navigating 2026. Let's jump right into the big one. The consumer shift. Apple and Google.
This is the headline event for sure.
I have to admit, when I saw the notification pop up, I did a double take. Apple has officially picked Google's Gemini to run the AI-powered Siri coming later this year. Now, help me unpack this, because I'm an Apple guy. I love the ecosystem. And Apple's whole brand, their entire religion, is vertical integration. They build the chip, they build the phone, they build the software. They like to own the whole widget.
They want to control the entire experience from top to bottom.
So why outsource the brain? Why hand the keys to the kingdom over to Google, of all companies?
To understand this, you really have to look at the timeline and the corporate DNA of these two giants. Think back to late 2022 when ChatGPT first launched.
Yeah.
That was the big bang of this modern AI era.
Right. Suddenly everyone was talking to a computer. It was on the news. My parents were asking me about it. It was everywhere.
Exactly. And the entire financial world, the entire tech sector was swept up in this frenzy. Microsoft moved instantly to partner with OpenAI, pouring billions in.
A brilliant move in retrospect.
Absolutely. Google panicked, declared a code red, and mobilized everything they had into Bard, and then, of course, Gemini. Meta went the open source route with Llama. And Apple was... well, they were silent.
They were doing the Apple thing, waiting. We all assumed they were secretly building something better in that spaceship campus. One more thing.
They were trading. And the reporting we have, specifically from CNBC and some of the supply chain leaks, confirms that Apple was working on its own massive projects. They had an internal project codenamed World Knowledge Answers.
World Knowledge Answers. It sounds very ambitious. Very Apple. A little bit grand, maybe.
It was supposed to be their direct competitor to ChatGPT and Perplexity. They wanted a proprietary model that would allow Siri to answer complex questions about history, science, coding everything without relying on Google search.
So they wanted to cut Google out completely.
That was the dream, but the reporting shows they had to scale it back significantly. It just wasn't performing. It wasn't good enough.
But why? I mean, Apple has more cash on hand than most countries. Why couldn't they just hire the engineers and build the model? What was missing?
Money buys chips, and it buys talent, but it didn't buy data culture. Not overnight. Google has been cataloging the world's information for 25 years. They have the index. They have the knowledge graph. They have lived and breathed data for decades.
And Apple's culture is different.
Apple is a privacy-first hardware company. Those two cultures are in direct tension when you were trying to build a massive large language model, or LLM, which needs vast amounts of data to learn. Apple realized that if they released a subpar product, a Siri, that hallucinated or gave bad answers, it would damage their brand more than outsourcing would.
Okay, so they faced a choice. Release a dumb Siri and get mocked into oblivion, or partner with our biggest rival and survive the AI wars.
Precisely. And reports confirm they were in talks with Google as early as August 2025. This wasn't a snap decision. They looked at the landscape and realized the gap between them and the frontrunners was widening, not closing. So they made the pragmatic choice. They swallowed their pride.
And the market reacted, didn't it? I remember seeing the stock tickers go a little wild.
A huge reaction. In January 2026, right after the announcement, Google actually surpassed Apple in market cap briefly. It was a massive statement.
Wow.
Google had its best year since 2009. The market looked at this deal and said, Google just won the distribution war.
Because now Google's AI is going to be on every single iPhone and every single pocket. It's the ultimate Trojan horse.
It is the most valuable real estate in consumer tech.
Yeah.
And we need to be clear about what this integration looks like. This isn't just an app you download from the App Store.
No, this is much deeper.
The sources indicate Apple is planning to deeply integrate this Gemini-backed Siri into core apps.
We were talking about Safari, health, music, podcasts. It's going to be woven into the fabric of the operating system.
See, that is where it gets really interesting for the listener. Originally, the rumors, remember all the WWDC rumors, were that Apple wanted standalone chatbots for each app. Like you'd have a health bot and a music bot, right? Which sounds fragmented and clunky. I mean, can you imagine? Sorry, you have to ask the music bot about that. It's not the Apple experience. Apple users hate clutter.
Totally. But now they are pivoting to a cohesive experience. One Siri that rules them all, powered by Gemini's brain. But I want to pause on that world knowledge failure for a second. The reporting said Apple also paused their big revamp of Safari, right?
They did. This is a big scoop in the sources. Apple had a top priority for 2026 to completely overhaul Safari for the AI era. They wanted to build features that would, for instance, assess document trustworthiness or cross-reference sources.
So basically turn the browser into a truth engine to fight fake news and misinformation.
That was the goal. A direct shot at companies like Perplexity and OpenAI.
That sounds incredibly useful. I want that. Why stop?
It's incredibly difficult. It's incredibly expensive. And it puts Apple in the position of being the arbiter of truth, which is a political minefield they do not want to be in.
I can see that.
By pausing it, the expert insight here is that this signals a retreat. Apple is retreating to what it does best: hardware and user experience, the UX. They are letting Google handle the heavy cognitive lifting. It is a massive admission that in the age of AI, data is king, and Google has the data.
Okay, so let's pivot this to what it means for you, the listener, especially if you are a creator, a business owner, or someone running one of those faceless channels. We used to talk about SEO, search engine optimization.
The bread and butter of digital marketing for 20 years.
Right. You wanted to rank on Google, so when someone typed in best vegan lasagna, your blog popped up. SEO is effectively becoming Gemini optimization, or a GEO, I guess.
That's a great way to put it. Unpack what Gemini optimization means in practice.
Well, think about the user behavior later this year. When a user picks up their iPhone 17, they are not going to open Safari and type keywords into a search bar nearly as often.
No, that feels slow now.
They are going to hold down the side button and ask Siri, Siri, find me a vegan lasagna recipe that takes less than 30 minutes and uses ingredients I probably have.
A much more natural conversational query.
And Siri isn't going to give me a list of 10 blue links to click on, is she?
Absolutely not. Siri's going to ask Gemini. Gemini is going to scan the web, read 10 different recipes, synthesize the best parts, and give you the answer.
So it'll just speak the recipe.
It'll say, here is a recipe. You need these ingredients. Start preheating your oven. It might not even send the user to a website at all.
That is terrifying for content creators who rely on website traffic. If nobody clicks, nobody sees the ads, nobody buys the affiliate products, that entire business model could just evaporate.
It is a massive paradigm shift. If you want your brand, your content, your product found on an iPhone in 2026, you need to be visible to Google's AI. You need to understand how Gemini parses information.
So it's not about keywords anymore.
It's less about keywords and more about authority, structure, and being part of the world knowledge that these models trust. It's about being the source of truth.
So the faceless creator who is just churning out generic, low-quality, top 10 lasagna articles by scraping other websites is going to get swallowed up.
Completely wiped out. Gemini will see that as redundant, low-value information.
But the authoritative voice, the chef, who has a truly unique take and a trusted brand, they might actually do better.
Potentially. But it changes the metric entirely. You are no longer fighting for clicks. You are fighting for citations. You want Gemini to say, according to your brand, the secret is to use cashew cream instead of ricotta.
You want to be the source material for the AI.
You want to be the reference in the AI's bibliography.
It also validates a specific business strategy, doesn't it? I mean, even the biggest company in the world, Apple, decided it couldn't win the AI model war alone. They partnered.
Right.
For smaller businesses, the lesson is crystal clear. Don't try to build everything from scratch. Partner. Leverage the platforms that are winning. Find your niche within the ecosystem.
That is a fantastic takeaway. It's about integration, not isolation.
Yeah.
You build on top of the giants. You don't compete with them head to head.
And speaking of money, the rumors are Apple is paying $1 billion a year for this. Just for the privilege.
That was the reported figure in the initial talks. $1 billion a year to rent Google's brain. It just shows you the scale we're operating at.
Incredible. It really sets the stage for the entire consumer experience. But software is only half the story, right? You can have the smartest AI in the world, but if it takes 10 seconds to answer you, nobody is going to use it.
That leads us directly to the plumbing of the AI world. The hardware, the infrastructure that makes all this magic happen instantly.
Let's talk about the second massive story of January 2026, NVIDIA.
The giant just got bigger. A lot bigger.
We have discussed NVIDIA on the show before. They are the ones selling the shovels in the AI gold rush. But this month, they made a move that suggests they don't just want to sell the shovels, they want to own the gold mine too.
And the land the mine is on, and the roads leading to it.
They completed a $20 billion acquisition of Grok. And just to be super clear for the listener, that is Groq, not Elon's Grok with a K.
Yes, a very important distinction. Grok is a hardware company. They make specialized chips.
So for the uninitiated, why does a company that already makes the best, most sought-after chips in the world need to buy another company that makes chips for $20 billion? What did Grok have that NVIDIA didn't?
It all comes down to two words: speed and cost. Or, to be more technical, it comes down to a process called inference.
Okay, let's do a quick definition check. Training versus inference. Explain it like I'm 5.
Okay, think of training as the education phase for the AI. It's when the AI goes to school, it reads the entire internet, it learns patterns, it studies grammar, it looks at billions of images.
This is the heavy lifting.
This is the incredibly heavy lifting. It takes months. It requires massive energy-guzzling supercomputers. NVIDIA's GPUs, their A100s and H100s, are the undisputed kings of training.
Okay, so training is school. It's building the brain. What is inference?
Inference is the job. It's after graduation. It's the moment you ask the AI a question, and it applies everything it learned to give you an answer in real time.
So when I ask Siri for that lasagna recipe,
That's inference. When you ask it to write me a poem, translate this sentence, or generate an image of a cat on a skateboard, that is inference.
and that needs to happen fast, like instantly.
It needs to happen instantly, or the illusion is broken. And that is where Grok excelled. They didn't make GPUs. They built a completely new kind of chip called the LPU, the Language Processing Unit.
LPU.
It was designed from the ground up specifically for inference. And the results are staggering. It runs models an order of magnitude faster than conventional hardware.
So we're not talking about like 10% faster. We are talking 10 times faster.
Yes, we are talking about generating hundreds of tokens or words per second. The difference between watching a video buffer and having it play instantly, it means instant responses. No buffering, no thinking dots, just the answer.
I love the analogy we used in the pre-show. It's like NVIDIA was the company selling all the gasoline, and they just bought the company that makes the fastest, most efficient engines.
That fits perfectly. By buying Grok, NVIDIA now dominates the entire life cycle of AI. They own the hardware you use to teach the AI, and now they own the best hardware for running the AI in the real world.
And the source called this the most significant consolidation in the semiconductor space since the AI boom began.
Which is a very polite, business-speak way of saying they're building a monopoly.
It's a consolidation, not a monopoly.
Of course, it definitely raises eyebrows regarding antitrust. But let's set that aside for a moment and look at why this matters for the person listening right now. Why should a content creator or a small business owner care about a $20 billion chip acquisition?
I have a theory on this, and I want to run it by you. If inference becomes faster and cheaper because of this Grok tech, doesn't that mean all the AI tools we use become instant, more affordable?
Yes. This is where it gets really exciting for the creators. This isn't some abstract corporate move. This has real-world implications.
Okay, so imagine you're a creator running a faceless channel. You know, those popular history or science channels that use stock footage and AI voiceovers.
Right, a huge market on YouTube.
Right now, if you want to dub your video into Spanish, French, and Mandarin to reach a global audience, it takes time. It's a rendering process. It costs money per minute.
It's slow and it's expensive. It's a bottleneck.
With Grok's technology integrated into NVIDIA's massive scale, we are looking at real-time voice dubbing.
So I could be live streaming in English, and a viewer in Tokyo could be hearing me in fluent, natural-sounding Japanese instantly, in a clone of my own voice.
That is the promise of real-time AI inference. It removes the latency. It makes the AI feel less like a tool you type into and more like a conversation partner that is right there with you.
And think about the cost reduction. If you're a business using AI agents for customer service, you're paying per token, per interaction. If Grok's chips are more energy efficient and faster, the cost of running that agent drops dramatically.
So it makes having a 247 AI employee affordable for small businesses, not just the Fortune 500 companies.
Exactly. It opens up so many doors. Auto-editing a video on the fly, live translation for conference calls, instantaneous content moderation.
But there is a downside here, right? In the prep notes, you mentioned the hegemony risk. That sounds ominous.
It is a bit ominous. If you are building a business that relies on AI, and soon every business will, you are now even more dependent on a single vendor's roadmap. If NVIDIA controls the speed and the price of AI inference, they essentially control the profit margins of every AI business on the planet.
So if NVIDIA decides to raise the price of the gas, everyone's car gets more expensive to drive, there are no other gas stations to go to.
That's the risk. It validates the need for open source hardware or a strong competitor, but right now, in January 2026, the gap between NVIDIA and everyone else just got a lot wider.
It's fascinating. We have Google consolidating the consumer software side with the Apple deal. We have NVIDIA consolidating the hardware side with the Grok deal. It feels like the big players are gluing their pieces to the board.
The era of wild, chaotic experimentation is ending. The era of industrialization is beginning.
But with industrialization always comes regulation. And that brings us to our third big story from January. The end of the Wild West.
This was absolutely inevitable. Someone had to be the first to blink.
We are talking about Elon Musk's XAI and their chatbot, Grok, with a K this time. In early January, they slammed the brakes hard on image generation. What happened there?
It was a controversy that had been brewing for months, but it reached a breaking point. There was a flood of non-consensual sexualized imagery, NCII, and deepfakes of public figures flooding the platform X.
And this was being generated by Grok.
It was being enabled by the lack of guardrails on Grok. The tool's whole marketing pitch was that it was edgy and had fewer restrictions than ChatGPT or Gemini. It was the rebellious AI.
And the internet did what the internet does.
The internet did what the internet does. Bad actors weaponized it immediately, and the backlash was global.
It wasn't just angry tweets.
No. We are talking about global regulatory pressure. The UK, the EU, even U.S. lawmakers are getting involved, threatening action. So on January 9, 2026, XAI made a massive change. They put image generation behind a strict paywall premium and premium plus only.
But it's not just about paying, right? It's about identity. That's the real change.
Correct. That's the crucial part. You need a verified identity payment method. They are de-anonymizing the creation of images. If you generate something illegal or harmful, they know who you are. The plausible deniability is gone.
That is a huge shift. We are moving from what felt like an open playground to what the sources are calling a regulated utility.
I think that is the perfect phrase, a regulated utility. Think about electricity or water. You can use them, but there are rules, and you are accountable for how you use them. This marks the end of the release now, fix it later era for generative AI.
So for the entrepreneurs and creators listening, I see a really big lesson here. I see a lot of people online on TikTok and YouTube promoting these jailbroken AI tools, use this uncensored model to do whatever you want.
It is an incredibly dangerous foundation to build a business on.
Right. If you build your content strategy or your entire business model on a tool that exists in a loophole, you are building on sand.
The regulatory hammer is falling. We saw it with Grok. We will see it with others. Reliability is becoming more valuable than unrestricted freedom, at least in a commercial context.
It has to be. If you are a brand, let's say you are a mid-sized marketing agency, you cannot risk using a tool that might generate something offensive or illegal and attach your client's name to it. You need safe, predictable environments.
It's the flight to safety. Brands will always choose the safe option.
And there is also the public perception aspect, isn't there? There is a growing trust gap. Users are becoming wary of deepfakes. When they see a video or an image, the default reaction in 2026 is becoming skepticism. Is this real?
Which ironically increases the value of authentic human-generated content.
It does. Verified identity, behind-the-scenes footage, things that prove you are a real person, that premium is going up every single day.
The value of trust is skyrocketing.
So to recap where we are, Siri is getting smarter but is controlled by Google. The chicks are getting faster but are controlled by NVIDIA. And the wild creative tools are getting locked down behind paywalls and IDs.
It sounds restrictive, but it's actually clarifying. The rules of the game are finally being set. The board is no longer shifting under our feet every week.
And now that the rules are set, the players are changing. We aren't just using chatbots anymore to ask questions. We are hiring agents to get things done.
This is the fourth pillar, and honestly the most exciting one for productivity and for anyone trying to scale a business.
Let's talk about agentic AI. I feel like this is the buzzword of 2026. It's everywhere.
It is, and for good reason.
But what does it actually mean? How is an agent different from the chatbot I was using back in 2024?
The simplest definition is the shift from chatting to doing. A chatbot answers your question. An agent executes a workflow to achieve your goal.
Give me a concrete example.
Okay, the old way. You go to ChatGPT and you say, make me a playlist of upbeat running songs from the 90s. It gives you a text list. Then you have to go to Spotify or Apple Music, search for each song one by one, and add it to a new playlist.
Which is tedious and annoying. I've done it.
Right, the agentic way. You say to your device, create a 90s running playlist. The agent plans the task. Step 1, understand the user's intent. Step 2, access the music service API. Step 3, find relevant songs. Step 4, create the playlist. It then connects to your Apple Music account, finds the songs, builds the playlist, and starts playing it. You didn't get a list, you got a result.
That is the Apple Music Automix example that was mentioned in the sources, right? It just does it for you.
Exactly. And the source from 9to5Mac had that great comment from a user named Connor. He expressed the public's frustration perfectly. He said something like, another AI chatbot, it really sucks.
I remember that. He complained that he has to figure out what to ask, and then he gets a text answer with 30 disclaimers. He said, the nugget isn't worth anything.
And I felt that in my soul.
Me too. People are tired of prompting. We are tired of having to be a prompt engineer just to get a simple task done. We just want the job done.
And the market sees this. The business world is all over it. The data from January 2026 is just staggering. The market size for agentic AI is nearly $8 billion already. But the big number is the adoption rate.
What's the number?
51% of large companies have already implemented agentic AI in some form.
51%. That means it's mainstream. It's not experimental anymore. It's past the tipping point.
It's here. And nearly 2/3 of those companies expect 100% ROI return on investment from these agents. This is the aha moment for business owners. AI isn't a novelty toy. It is digital labor.
Digital labor. That is a powerful phrase. It reframes the whole thing.
It does. We are seeing agents in customer service handling complex queries, in operations optimizing supply chains, in back office decision-making, analyzing reports and flagging anomalies.
So let's bring this back to the faceless business or the solo creator. How do they use this? This sounds like something for giant corporations.
Not anymore. Imagine an agent for your YouTube channel. You don't just ask it to write a script. You give the agent a topic. Create a 10-minute video about the history of the Roman aqueducts.
Okay.
The agent then initiates a workflow. It researches the topic, using trusted sources, maybe leveraging that new Gemini integration in Siri to find authoritative information. It writes the script. It generates the voiceover using a verified, high-quality clone of your voice.
So far, that's what we could do in 2025.
Right, but here's the agentic part. It then selects appropriate commercially licensed stock footage. It edits the video, timing the cuts to the voiceover. It adds background music. And then, and this is the key, it logs into your YouTube account, writes a title and description optimized for the algorithm, adds tags, and posts it.
Without you ever clicking upload.
Without you doing anything after the initial command.
Yeah.
That is the promise of agentic AI. It moves from research to boardroom planning and all the way through to execution.
It sounds like magic, but it also sounds like a management challenge. If I have 5 agents running my business, one for video, one for social media, one for my newsletter, I'm not a creator anymore. I'm a manager of robots.
That is the new skill set for 2026. You are not a writer, you are an editor-in-chief. You are not a video editor, you are a producer. Your job is to manage the workflow, set the strategy, and review the final product, not to push the buttons and type the keystrokes.
This connects back to the NVIDIA story too, doesn't it? You need that massive inference speed to run these agents efficiently.
Precisely. It's the missing piece. If an agent has to take 10 steps to post a video, each of those 10 steps needs to be instant and cheap. Grok's technology makes that economically viable. If every step costs $1 and takes 5 minutes to process, the business model breaks down. If it costs a fraction of a cent and takes milliseconds, it scales infinitely.
So we have these 4 massive pieces on the table. We have the Apple-Google partnership consolidating the consumer interface. We have NVIDIA consolidating the hardware. We have the regulation of the Wild West setting the rules. And we have the rise of the agents to actually do the work.
The board is set. The pieces are in place.
So what do we do? If I'm listening to this on February 1st, 2026, and I want to win this year in my business or with my content, what is my playbook?
I think we can boil it down to 4 key takeaways. 4 action items.
Okay, hit me. Takeaway number 1.
Optimization. You must optimize for Gemini. We talked about this. If Siri is the new front door to the internet for 1 billion users, and Gemini is the one providing the answers, your content needs to satisfy Gemini's world knowledge.
So stop writing for keywords.
Stop writing for keywords.
Yep.
Start writing structured, authoritative content that answers questions clearly and directly. Use schemas. Be factual. Become a trusted source. If Gemini can't read you and trust you, you don't exist on the iPhone.
That is harsh but true. Okay, I'm rethinking my entire content strategy. Takeaway number 2.
Speed. Leverage the hardware shifts. The NVIDIA Grok deal means we can expect real-time interactivity to become the norm. If you are a creator, look at live streaming. Look at tools for real-time translation. The barrier between you and a global audience is dissolving because of this hardware. Don't be afraid to experiment with live AI-assisted formats. That's the new frontier.
I like that. Don't just make videos, create live experiences. Takeaway number 3.
Professionalism. The Grok crackdown is a massive signal. The Wild West is over. Build your business on compliant, sustainable tools. Don't rely on loopholes or sketchy, jailbroken models. If you are building a brand, use verified tools, pay for the premium access, and ensure you have the rights to everything you are generating. Sustainability is far more important than a quick viral hit generated by a shady tool that could be shut down tomorrow.
Play the long game. It's about brand safety. And finally, number 4.
Agency. This is the big one. Stop thinking about prompts. Start thinking about workflows. Don't ask, what prompt should I write to get a good script? Ask, what process can I automate from idea to publication? How can you set up an agent to run parts of your business while you sleep? The tools are there now. The 51% of big companies are already doing it. You should be too.
That is a solid, actionable playbook. Optimization, speed, professionalism, agency. It's a whole new mindset.
It's a roadmap for the rest of the year at least.
You know, looking at all of this, it really feels like January 2026 was a true turning point. We stopped being surprised by the tech and started building the actual structure of our society around it.
AI became physical with the hardware acquisitions. It became regulated with the new laws and policies. And it became deeply embedded in our daily lives with this Siri integration. It's just here now. It's part of the environment.
It is the water we swim in now. We don't even notice it's wet anymore.
Which brings me to a final thought. We spent this whole hour looking forward at the shiny new tech. But I found a little side note in the ETC journal source that really stopped me in my tracks.
Oh, I love a good side note. What was it?
It was a brief mention of something called neural archaeology as an upcoming innovation for 2027.
Neural archaeology, like digging into digital brains. What does that even mean?
The idea, as I understand it, is that we are generating so much data, and these models are becoming so complex that we might need to start using AI to dig into our own past, to reconstruct lost history from fragmented data, or perhaps to understand the memories and hidden biases of the AI itself.
That is trippy. Using AI to perform an excavation on another AI.
And right next to that prediction was another one. Humanoid robots in our homes by 2027.
Whoa. Okay, so that's a bit more tangible.
So here's the question I want to leave the listener with. We just spent an hour talking about agentic AI, taking over our digital chores, answering our emails, booking our flights, posting our videos. If the digital agents are taking over our software lives in 2026,
Are the physical robots coming to do our laundry in 2027?
it's the next logical step, isn't it? From the cloud to the living room.
That is a thought that is both incredibly exciting and slightly terrifying.
It's the future we're building, 1 month at a time.
Well, on that note, I'm going to go do my own laundry while I still can. It might be a nostalgic activity, Sue.
Enjoy it while it lasts.
Thank you for listening to The Deep Dive. We will be back next time to track where these tectonic plates shift next. Until then, keep learning.
Stay curious.